Are you trying to figure out whether your facility needs a New Jersey recycling approval or a solid waste permit? And does it feel like the line between the two is a lot blurrier than it should be? Well, in this video, we're going to simplify the difference, walk through a few real-world examples, and help you understand how the NJDEP is actually thinking about your operation. By the end, you'll know what really matters when deciding which path your facility falls under and how to avoid choosing the wrong one. Hey there, I'm Doug Ruhlin from RMA, your environmental experts. We help facilities across New Jersey navigate approvals, permitting, and compliance every day. And this is one of the most common areas where projects get delayed or misclassified. Okay, let's dive in. So, at a high level, a recycling approval applies when you're handling materials that are clearly recyclable and are actually being reused in a legitimate, consistent way. A solid waste permit comes into play when materials are considered waste or when the operation doesn't meet the DEP standard for recycling. Sounds straightforward, but in practice, it comes down to the details. The NJDEP is looking at how clean the material is, how it's handled, and whether there's a real end market. So here are a few quick examples to try and make that a little clearer. Clean concrete that's crushed and reused as aggregate material, that typically fits under recycling. Clean wood like pallets or untreated lumber ground into mulch or for fuel, also recycling. But mixed construction debris, wood, drywall, concrete, plastic, all combined, even if you plan to sort it out later, that usually leans towards solid waste. Same thing with soil materials. Clean fill being reused in a project may qualify as recycling or beneficial use. Contaminated soil sitting on site without a defined end user? In certain cases, that's most likely solid waste. And even materials like asphalt millings might be able to go either way. If they're consistently being reused for, say, new asphalt or recycled aggregate material, well then that clearly supports recycling. If they're just being stockpiled with no clear outlet or end use, that might shift the classification towards solid waste. So the takeaway from all of this is simple. It's not just the material, it's the condition, the process, and the end use. And this is where a lot of facilities run into trouble. They assume something is recyclable, start down the recycling approval path, and then the NJDEP pushes back because the material is too mixed, too contaminated, or doesn't really have a clear end market. And at that point, you're not just tweaking an application, you may be starting over under a completely different permitting path. That means delays, added cost, and a lot of frustration on your part. The better approach is to have a good game plan right up front. Look closely at what's coming in, what you're doing with it, and where it's actually going. And make sure that story holds up under NJDEP review. If there's any uncertainty, it's worth getting a second set of eyes on it before you submit anything to anybody. Here at RMA, we've been helping clients with New Jersey recycling approvals and solid waste permitting for decades. So if you're trying to figure out where your facility and materials fit, reach out to us. We can help you sort it out early so you don't have to try and fix it later on.